You know the exact feeling. It starts in your stomach, a cold, heavy knot. Then it moves to your chest, making it hard to take a full breath. Your face feels hot. Your mind starts racing, flipping through a million different thoughts, all of them screaming the same terrible message. I failed. I messed up. It is over. Maybe you lost a business deal you spent months working on. Maybe you failed a test you thought you were ready for. Maybe a relationship you poured your heart into fell apart. Or maybe you just tried something new, stepped out of your comfort zone, and fell flat on your face in front of everyone. In that moment, the world feels like it is ending. The shame is so thick you can almost taste it. You want to hide. You want to crawl into bed, pull the covers over your head, and just disappear. Your ego is bruised, your confidence is shattered, and a dark, quiet voice in your head whispers, "You are not good enough. You should just give up." Society tells us that failure is the opposite of success. We are taught from the time we are children that failing is bad. It means we are not smart, not talented, and not worthy. We are taught to hide our mistakes, to cover up our flaws, and to only show the world our highlight reel. But what if I told you that everything you have been taught about failure is a lie? What if I told you that failure is not a stop sign, but a detour sign? What if I told you that the very thing you are most afraid of is actually the exact thing you need to become the person you are meant to be? The ancient Stoics, the emperors, the slaves, the warriors, and the philosophers who built empires and survived unimaginable hardship knew a secret about failure that modern society has completely forgotten. They did not run from failure. They did not hide from it. They did not cry over it. They welcomed it. They studied it. They used it. To a Stoic, failure is not a punishment from the universe. Failure is a message. It is the universe's way of grabbing you by the shoulders, shaking you awake, and showing you exactly where you need to grow. Failure is not your enemy. Failure is your greatest, most honest, and most brutal mentor. Today, I am going to teach you how to turn your biggest failures into your greatest teachers. I am going to show you the Stoic framework for taking the painful, crushing weight of a mistake and turning it into the fuel that builds an unbreakable mind. By the end of this video, you will never fear failure again. You will stop running from your mistakes, and you will start using them to forge yourself into someone truly unstoppable. Let us begin. Step 1. Strip the story. Keep the facts. The first thing you must understand is that failure itself does not cause you pain. The pain comes from the story you tell yourself about the failure. The Stoics made a massive distinction between an event and our judgment of that event. Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher who was born a slave, said it perfectly. People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. Let us break this down into simple terms. Imagine you start a business and it goes bankrupt. That is the event. That is the fact. But then your mind adds the story. The story says, I am a terrible businessman. I am going to be poor forever. Everyone who invested in me thinks I am an idiot. I will never succeed at anything. The event is just a fact. It is neutral. It is just data. The story is where the suffering lives. The story is where the shame, the anxiety, and the depression come from. When you fail, your ego immediately tries to protect itself by turning the failure into an identity. It takes the action, I failed at this task, and twists it into the identity, I am a failure. The first step to turning failure into a mentor is to ruthlessly separate the facts from the story. Grab a piece of paper. Write down exactly what happened, using only cold, hard, objective facts. Write it like a robot. I tried to launch the product. It did not sell. I lost $5,000. That is it. No emotions, no judgments. No, I am stupid. No, my life is over. Just the raw data. When you strip away the emotional story, you will realize something amazing. The failure is not nearly as scary as your mind made it out to be. It is just an event. It is just a moment in time. And once you remove the emotional noise, you clear the space to actually listen to what the failure is trying to teach you. Step 2. The autopsy of the ego. Once you have the cold, hard facts in front of you, it is time to do the work. This is the step most people skip, because it requires immense courage. It requires you to look at your own flaws without blinking. The Stoics called this the evening review, or the autopsy of the ego. Seneca, who was one of the most successful men in Rome, would every single night sit down in the quiet of his room and review his actions. He did not do this to punish himself. He did this to learn. He would ask himself, what did I do wrong today? Where did I let my emotions control me? What can I do better tomorrow? When you fail, you must become your own scientist. You must perform an autopsy on the mistake. You must look at the dead body of your failure and figure out exactly what killed it. This is where you have to be brutally honest with yourself. You cannot blame the economy. You cannot blame your team. You cannot blame bad luck. You have to look in the mirror and ask, what was my part in this? Did you fail because you were lazy and did not put in the hours? Did you fail because you were arrogant and did not listen to the advice of others? Did you fail because you were afraid and made a safe, cowardly choice instead of a bold one? Did you fail because you lacked discipline and gave in to your distractions? This part hurts. It burns the ego. But this burn is exactly what you need. This is the medicine. When you find the exact flaw in your own character that caused the failure, you have struck gold. You have found the exact thing you need to work on. The failure just handed you a personalized map to your own weaknesses. Most people go their whole lives never knowing what their actual weaknesses are because they are too busy blaming the world. But you are going to use the failure to find your blind spots. You are going to patch the holes in your armor. You are going to say, so this is where I was weak. Now I know. Next time I will be strong here. This is how failure becomes a mentor. It shows you exactly where you need to grow. Step 3. The rule of the redirection. Now that you have the facts and you have found your flaw, you need to know what to do next. This is where the Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control comes in. Epictetus taught that there are things we can control and things we cannot control. You cannot control the fact that the business failed. You cannot control the fact that the relationship ended. You cannot control the fact that you failed the test. That is in the past. It is out of your hands. But you have absolute 100% control over what you do next. When we fail, we tend to stare at the closed door. We obsess over the opportunity we lost. We cry over the money that is gone. We waste all of our energy wishing we could go back and change the past. The Stoic looks at the closed door, accepts that it is closed, and immediately starts looking for a window. There is a famous Stoic idea that says, the obstacle in your path becomes the path. When you fail, the universe is simply redirecting you. It is closing a door because that door was not meant for you, or because you are not yet ready to walk through it. Think about the times in your life when you failed at something, only to realize later that it was a blessing in disguise. Think about the rejection that stung so badly, but ended up pushing you toward a much better opportunity. Think about the mistake that forced you to change your habits, which ultimately made you a healthier, stronger person. Failure is just the universe redirecting your energy. When you hit a wall, do not bang your head against it. Do not sit at the base of the wall and cry. Use the wall, climb it, go around it, dig under it, or realize that the wall is there to tell you to turn around and find a better path. When you shift your mindset from why did this happen to me to where is this redirecting me, the pain vanishes. You stop being a victim of your circumstances, and you become the navigator of your destiny. You take the wheel back from the universe, and you start driving. Step 4. Become the blazing fire. This brings us to the most powerful, most transformative Stoic concept of all. This is the secret weapon of Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome. Marcus Aurelius faced massive failures. He dealt with betrayals from his top generals. He faced plagues that wiped out millions. He fought wars that dragged on for years. He lost children. He had every reason to be bitter, to give up, and to let failure destroy him. But he did not. He used a mental framework that turned every single obstacle into an advantage. He wrote this in his private journal. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Read that again. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything thrown into it. Think about a tiny, weak candle. If you throw a piece of wood on it, it will crush the flame. If the wind blows too hard, it will blow the candle out. A weak fire is easily destroyed by the things thrown into it, but a blazing, roaring fire. When you throw wood into a blazing fire, the fire does not get crushed. The fire consumes the wood. It uses the wood to burn hotter, to burn brighter, and to grow stronger. Most people are like the tiny candle. When failure is thrown into their lives, it crushes them. It blows them out. They let the failure destroy their confidence and their joy. The Stoic mind is the blazing fire. When failure is thrown at you, you do not let it crush you. You consume it. You use it. You take the pain, the embarrassment, the loss, and the lessons, and you throw them into the furnace of your mind. You use the failure to burn away your arrogance. You use it to burn away your laziness. You use it to burn away your fear. You take the very thing that was supposed to destroy you, and you use it to become unstoppable. This is what it means to turn failure into a mentor. You do not just learn from it and move on. You internalize it. You let it change your chemistry. You let it make you a blazing fire. When you become the blazing fire, you stop fearing failure. In fact, you start to welcome it. Because you know that no matter what the universe throws at you, you have the power to turn it into fuel. You know that every failure will just make your fire burn brighter. Step 5. Amor Fati. Love the crash. We have stripped the story. We have done the autopsy. We have found the redirection. We have become the blazing fire. Now we reach the final, ultimate level of Stoic mastery. This is the peak of the mountain. It is the concept of Amor Fati, a love of fate. It is not enough to just accept your failure. It is not enough to just tolerate it. It is not enough to just say, well, I guess this is what happened. I will deal with it. That is just surviving. The Stoics did not want to just survive. They wanted to thrive. Amor Fati means that you do not just accept your failure. You actively love it. You embrace it. You are genuinely grateful for it. Why would you ever love failing? Why would you love losing money, losing a job, losing a relationship, or looking foolish in front of others? Because you realize that the failure was exactly what you needed. You realize that if you had succeeded, you would have become arrogant. You realize that if you had not lost that money, you would have kept making bad investments and lost it all later in life. You realize that if that relationship had not ended, you would have settled for a love that was not right for you, and you would have missed out on the person who is actually meant for you. You realize that the failure was a gift. It was a harsh, painful, brutal gift, but a gift nonetheless. It was the universe breaking you open so that you could be rebuilt stronger. When you truly practice Amor Fati, you look at your biggest failures and you say, thank you. You say, thank you for showing me my weakness. Thank you for humbling me. Thank you for killing the old foolish version of me so that the new wise version could be born. I love this failure because it made me who I am today. When you reach this level, you become truly invincible. Because if you can love your failures, there is absolutely nothing in this world that can defeat you. You have taken the ultimate weapon of the enemy, failure, and you have turned it into your greatest ally. The ultimate shift. From victim to student, my friends, let me leave you with this final thought. The difference between a person who is crushed by life and a person who conquers life is not the absence of failure. It is the relationship they have with failure. The victim asks, why me? The victim says, this is unfair. The victim hides their mistakes and lets the shame eat them alive. The victim stays small because they are terrified of falling down. The Stoic asks, what now? The Stoic says, "Show me the lesson." The Stoic studies their mistakes like a scientist. The student grows, because they know that the only way to fall is to stop trying. You are going to fail again. Let me promise you that. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to take hits. You are going to fall flat on your face. That is the guarantee of being alive. But from this day forward, you will not fear it. When the failure comes, you will feel the initial sting. You will feel the knot in your stomach. But then, you will take a deep breath. You will strip away the emotional story. You will look at the cold, hard facts. You will perform the autopsy on your ego. You will find the lesson. You will find the redirection. And then you will smile. Because you know that the greatest mentor in the world has just walked through your door. You will throw that failure into the blazing fire of your mind, and you will watch it burn brighter than ever before. Do not run from your mistakes. Do not hide from your failures. Walk right up to them, look them in the eye, and say, "Teach me." Because the moment you stop fearing failure is the exact moment you become truly free. If this video gave you the courage to face your mistakes and turn them into your greatest strength, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Let me know in the comments. What is the biggest lesson a past failure taught you? I read every single comment. Until next time, stay bold, stay learning, and stay untouchable.